My name is Folake Folarin-Coker. I'm the creative director to the Tiffany Amber brand, and that's who I am. I started Tiffany Amber 13 years ago, and it was a hobby. Because I remember I started law school in Lagos, and there was a 13 months holiday in between moving the law school from Lagos to Abuja. So I just thought, what could I do to while away time? And I started making clothes for myself to take to school, because Abuja, I'd heard, was very hot, the climate was very different from Lagos. So I created some pieces for myself, and then when I got to school, I would wear these pieces, and everybody would always tell me, "Oh, Folake, I want one of these, I want one of these." And I thought, okay, all right. Started doing a little business while I was in school, and then we had another long holiday, so I decided to have a small fashion show, and it's been uphill since then. The label was launched in 1998. And then the structure we have now in the fashion industry did not exist then. It was like the first indigenous ready-to-wear label. I wasn't really competing with anybody then because it was young, it was fresh, and the way we marketed the brand then was almost like the new kids on the block. And it was an instant success in that regard because it was a breath of fresh air, and it was appreciated by the public then. Nigerian fashion has a personality of its own now. There's so many amazing designers in Nigeria doing so many great things. And there's some designer brands in Nigeria that you'd mention the name in any major fashion city, and someone there would know the brand you're talking about. 10 years ago, that was not the case. It was still very much a tailoring city, as opposed to a designing city. It's an attitude that we've been selling all this time, because I find that when women come into Tiffany Amber, the first thing they do when they try a piece on is stand on their toes. So I guess there is something about the brand that makes them feel regal. So, and that we've maintained from the initial stage of launching the brand till now. The Tiffany Amber aesthetic is generally floaty. We have used very soft fabrics. We use a lot of silks in various forms, but we're not in a box. So that's why it's been easy for us to keep to trend without being trendy over the years. We've had our amazing hits that people see and they go, "Oh, wow." I mean, there's one that we're working on now called the Lily Twist dress, and we must have sold over 700 pieces of those dresses. And this is a dress that every customer that buys it, we would say to them that, by the way, we sold a lot of this dress, and they're like, "Oh, I don't care," because there's so many different ways in which you can wear it. I think the past year really has helped to transform the brand into help us focus as to where we're going with the brand. And I mean, it started off last year with the inaugural Arise Magazine Fashion Week, where we were awarded Fashion Brand of the Year, and then later on doing our own London standalone show at the London Fashion Week, which was sponsored by GT Bank, and then we went to and then we had earlier on this year started with a bang, with the Vogue Italia editor, Franca Susani, visiting the store. And she was here with us for 2 hours. It doesn't get any more major than that when you have the editor of Vogue in your store. And I work mostly from my factory, because it's very important that I work with my tailors, my cutters, my pattern makers on the team. And I go in, depending on what time of the year. For example, during showtime, I would go in, maybe I would have given the samples to make the night before, then we'll do the fitting of the sample, then choose the right fabrics to go with it. Even before we actually start doing all that, we maybe do a research for 1 month on how this collection is going to be, because people actually don't know the technicality of putting a collection together. That's the difference between a cohesive collection and a collection that seems as though no thought went into it. And it takes years to actually master the art of being cohesive. I've met some amazing women in the line of what I do. I mean, when I say amazing, inspirational, they're supportive, and I get a lot of women like, you know, who've just really embraced the brand and treated the brand with a lot of regard and everything. A Tiffany Amber woman. I think the best way to describe her is she's empowered. She's very faithful to that which is most important to her, which is her own personal style. She's unfettered by the conventional notion of trends. She just wants to look good, and she knows how to play with Tiffany Amber to make her, to let her come out as herself. She wants to wear the clothes, she doesn't want the clothes to wear her, and that's who the Tiffany Amber woman is. I remember there was a client, I'm not going to mention names. The client was so fussy. I mean, so fussy that this was about maybe 8 years ago, I was petrified. The client was so fussy. I was mortified of this woman. So one day she just drove in through my factory door. I remember my gate, my factory was not where it is now. And the minute I heard she was there, I hid under the table. I ran under the table, I hid there, and I covered my face. And then she barged into my office, and my assistant was telling her, I'm so sorry, she's not in. And then she comes under the table. I said, Folake, come out from there. I'm like, I nearly died. I don't think I've ever been so scared. I was like, ah! And I told her, I said, woman, I don't want to make clothes for you anymore. You scare me, you shout too much. And the minute I lashed out at her, she calmed down. She goes, really? Do I really do all that to you? And then after that, maybe because of my reaction, she calmed down and we were able to get along a lot better after that. But I was crying while I was talking to her. There's this hype and popularity that comes with this business that it's very easy to lose focus and believe the hype. I think that you're the best thing since sliced bread, and just generally walk around as though like you own the world, because it really is quite amazing how people respond to you when they love your work. But then I guess the everyday woman, the Folake who has to do school runs, the Folake who has to try and teach her daughter how to make pancakes, the Folake who has to fight with the tailor, the Folake who's doing the everyday real life things, helps me to balance things out, to remain grounded and focused.